These are really cool. These are unreleased UHQRs by Mobile Fidelity, the original Mobile Fidelity, back when Herb Belkin owned it. They were pressed in Japan. This one is Trick of the Tail, Genesis, never released. Most people don't even know that this was ever made. This is In Search of a Lost Chord that was pressed in 1993. They never released this. This is unreleased. This is not a UHQR, but it's Moody Blues In Search of the Lost Chord. RTI pressed in 1993. Unreleased MoFi. This is Janis Joplin, unreleased MoFi. It's from, doesn't have the date, but it was probably like 1980, 80 something. Okay, here's the UHQRs. UHQR Sprach Zarathustra, never released. UHQR of the Romantic Russia, the Decca, never released. UHQR of Styx Grand Illusion, never released. UHQR of Ricky Lee Jones, never released. UHQR of Beethoven's Ninth, never released. Corman, Schulte, never released. This one is Genesis Trick of the Tail, UHQR, never released. Chuck Mangione, Feels So Good, UHQR, never released. Here's a couple of other. This is Beatles for Sale, test pressing. Beatles for Sale, 140 gram test pressing. Beatles Abbey Road, 140 gram test pressing. And Beatles Abbey Road test pressing, all on the original Mobile Fidelity, Herb Belkin's Mobile Fidelity pressed at JBC in Japan. These are kind of cool. Here's some Londons and some Deccas. This is the Mendelssohn Scotch Symphony. Here's how the London came out, and they're called blueback, so you can see the blueback. So this is the London, and this is the original Decca, same title, just done in Decca. And these are really cool to collect and really great sounding, cool label. The jackets of those are flimsy. They have the fold over, and this is when they call a wide band Decca. This is what they're talking about. The band. The Decca is the font is like that. That's what they call a wide band Decca. Full frequency stereophonic sound, FFSS. So that's the Mendelssohn. Here's the Sweet Espanola, great record. And the way they did the stereo is the blue sleeve. If it's blue, that's stereo. So there's a hole there. It was a really clever way of, see the sleeve is blue, and when it, this is another wide band Decca. Unbelievable recording. We did this on SACD. Great record, very accessible, classical, very great demo record. Well, the other one is also, here's another great demo record. This goes for like $1,000. This is the original España. Wide band. The castanettas, I mean, it just sounds like they're in your room. This is the English RCA Living Stereo. Now, RCA did some living stereos they call the UK recordings, and they did them for Decca. Well, what happened is, well, Decca actually did the recordings, and RCA released them for the first 10 years. Well, after the 10 years, it reverted back to Decca, and Universal owns them now. So when I reissue a UK Decca RCA, I have to go to Universal, whereas Sony owns the American RCA. But this is one of the top titles. So this is not the American, the American Witch's Brew RCA is $1,000 record. very hard to find mint. But this is even crazy. These are SB 2020. So this is a flap over. This is almost impossible to find. But we've also reissued this particular record. Let's see. This is very cool. This is the Jamaican pressing of Rastaman Vibration. This happens to be one of my favorite reggae albums, happens to be one of my favorite Bob Marley albums. I know that Bob Marley, Exodus is a big record, which is a great record. But this one, to me, is my favorite. And so this is a Jamaican pressing, Tough Gone. I mean, look at the label. Now, it's original, but I wouldn't urge you to go kill yourself to find it and pay big bucks for it, because the Jamaican pressings aren't up to the standard of audiophile. But it's still the original. It's still the original label, and it's really cool to have. And if we were to happen to be making a UHQR of it, of course, we want to have the original label and try to duplicate everything possible. Now, I remember this coming out in the 70s. And the promo came out. This is all burlap sack. I don't know if you can see, but it's like it's a box. And it's a cutout. And this is the promo. And I knew it was out there, and I never did find it. And here's another record I spent $700 or so on and don't regret it, is this record. So the way this record came, I got this, it was still sealed. It has a booklet. It's called The Scrapbook of 1976. It has a, promotional stuff in it. And this is super, super cool to have your favorite album, promo, very few made, still sealed, and, have it out of burlap sack. And here's another rare album. This goes for about $1,500 to $2,000. This is another RCA Decca. And as you can tell, this is where I modeled the UHQR from this box set. These were done in Switzerland. These are called the Soria series on RCA. And the booklet and everything on the Soria series is just, they're handmade. They're just they're just beautiful records. And then this thing is just such good music, and sonically is just one of the best classical recordings ever. Here's Son House, one of my favorite blues albums. This is the original stereo. We got the original master tapes and mastered it from there in stereo. And here's the original mono. So again, we reissued this, but I like having the original stereo and the original mono. We use that when we're mastering to make sure we're beating the originals to see what they did. So the mastering engineer uses it. I get to use it to compare. My graphic artist gets to use it, and we get to see. We want to try to duplicate it the closest we can. So almost every Analogue Productions, I have the original and the reissue. And you know what? Sometimes it ain't the original we have to beat. Sometimes it's the reissue we have to beat. Sometimes it's very easy to cream the original. Sometimes maybe Doug Sachs mastered it. Sometimes it's a little harder. But we almost always make it sound better. And again, sometimes it's easier than others. Sometimes we just beat them by a little. But that's our goal, and we think we normally achieve our goal. All right, well, I just want to show you all some of my collection. Again, it's not my rarest, but it's some of the rarest, and there's a lot more cool things, but I just went through it real quickly to give you, you know, a little bit of classical, a little bit of blues, um, little jazz, give you maybe something to think about collecting. You know, maybe you think the Pink Islands are cool to collect like I do, or the contemporary stereo records. Guess I better make sure I got them all before I start promoting them too much. But anyway, the Decas, or the SB RCA living stereos from England, or the Decas from England. It's some of the stuff I like collecting. Anyway, until next time, thank you.